And our criteria for selection, your College Athletic Hall of Fame selection is exclusive to those who have exemplified the desirable character traits expected of all who are affiliated with Spartan Athletics. Those who have performed in an extraordinary manner and/or those who have demonstrated notable citizenship at and away from your college. We have 6 people here tonight who embody all of that. I had the distinct honor of coaching one of the inductees through his time at York College, and I had the pleasure of watching the others compete. As a coach, you recruit talent and you recruit people you think will fit your program. Be good students, be good people, but you never really know what you have until you go through the highs and lows, the proud moments, the ones you'd rather forget, the excitement, the grind, the laughs, and the tears that make up a season or 2 or 3 or 4. My guess is that the coaches and teammates of each of our inductees helped make them better players, but the truth is that only one person is responsible for the making of a Hall of Famer. Only one person has control over the discipline, the emotion, and the will that it takes to be great over an entire career. Tonight we could hear from 6 people who made themselves one of the finest to wear York College green and white. At this time, I would like to ask our head women's soccer coach, Callie Mcgregor, to introduce tonight's first inductee, a member of our 2020 class.
Thank you and good evening. I have the honor of introducing Emily Sullivan Donatelli to all of you as the 2020 York College of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame inductee. Emily is one of the most decorated players to have ever worn the green and white. She is second in career points with 116, second in career goals with 41, second in career games played with 84, and first in the York College record books with 34 career assists. These statistics speak to Emily's incredible consistency and place her at the top categories of the CAC record books as well. Emily was recognized as an all-CAC first team all 4 years of her career, including CAC Rookie of the Year as a freshman. She was a D3 Kicks Mid-Atlantic and All-American in 2006, and honored as a member of the CAC Silver Anniversary team. Additionally, as a senior, Emily won the coveted York Athletics Georgia Heathcote Stallman Award. However, it is your contributions to, and as a member of the 2007 CAC Championship team, that may be the most noteworthy, since that is the foundation on which the current women's soccer program was built. Emily helped lead her team all the way to the NCAA Sweet 16, a feat that yet has to be topped in the history of the program. Emily, please know you were a part of setting a standard of excellence within the women's soccer program that we still talk about today and work to emulate. When I asked Coach Al Chesnavage, who's here tonight, about you as a player, he said you did your talking on the field. You had incredible composure, a high work rate, and great soccer IQ. He said your laser accurate passes and incredible field vision is the reason why you're at the top of the record books for most assists. He also remembers you as someone who led by example and were a great teammate. Coach Vicki Sterner, who's also with us tonight, was sure to point out that you were not only one of the most decorated women's soccer players to play here at York, but also one of the most decorated female student athletes. A quote that came to mind for her in regards to you, Emily, was that of Anson Dorrance. The vision of a champion is someone who is bent over, drenched in sweat, at the point of exhaustion when no one else is watching. Your work ethic was incredible. You did not care about being flashy. You wanted to get the job done, and your team's success was more important than your own. That was truly reflected in the success of the women's soccer program throughout your career. Thank you, for an incredible career, for all you have done for your college, for our athletics family, and for the women's soccer program. We are so proud of all that you have accomplished, and congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction.
Wow. I don't know how I'm going to talk now. Thank you so much. That was so kind. This spring, I had the joy of participating in the women's alumni soccer game. It was really fun to experience the feeling of being back out on the field again. But if I have to be honest, I think those girls on the team right now, who are basically half my age, might be a little surprised to know that I'm a Hall of Famer. Time isn't exactly kind, so thank you for this honor today and reminding me of the good old days and boosting my confidence a little bit back from that. I was a determined and dedicated athlete back in the day, and so I did always enjoy the sense of accomplishment I got from having a successful game or various recognitions. But those recognitions also came with mixed feelings of awkwardness, and even more so now. It becomes even more apparent with time that while I have a lot to be proud of, my experience and success would not have been possible without so many people around me. So of course I want to thank all of my teammates at Weiss all 4 years. You were all so good to me in so many different ways. My team was a mix of great friends, leaders, talent, kindness, fun, support, honesty that I needed, and inspiration. One of my teammates was Callie, and a roommate of mine as well, who overcame what would have been a career-ending injury for so many people, and yet here you are today being inducted as well, so congratulations to you. I also want to mention my teammate Erin Kuhn-Kangalosi. She was my classmate for 4 years and was inducted into the Hall of Fame last year. She was able to attend last year. I can't imagine my time at work without her. We challenged and pushed each other to be better players, and it was truly a winning combination to have her by my side all those years. To Coach Vicki, thank you for being such a supportive coach, for paving the way in the program all those years, and leading us to that first CAC championship. I always felt comfortable with you, respected by you, and you cared so much about our team and made sure we had a wonderful experience in so many ways. I'm appreciative of the rest of the coaching staff as well, especially Al, for your amazing attitude, support, and love. And for Justin for always pushing me to my limits. Scott Weiss, I think that man has ability to be in multiple places at once. He was always there, knew everything about the games, and always had a kind word for me. I did mention earlier that time isn't exactly kind to my, with respect to my soccer skills, but it has been kind to me in so many other ways. I'm now married to my wonderful husband, Rob, who's here tonight, and we have 2 beautiful boys. My oldest just got into soccer this year, and I have found that there is just something so enjoyable about watching your children pursue their passions and watch that blossom, the love of sports in your children. And it's just so entertaining as a parent to watch your kids have fun out on the field. So Mom and Dad, for all the years of entertainment that you got from watching me, you're welcome. My parents seriously always were there for me, and I don't know how they did it. So all the practices, tryouts, games, tournaments, soccer camps, somebody was there or was making sure that the other person could be there. Thank you so much for giving me all those experiences. Showing up matters. I'm so grateful, and possibly sometimes always took it for granted, that I could always look into the stands and see you guys. I don't know how else to say it, but thank you. You guys are my stars, my MVPs, and my Hall of Fame, and I love you. Thank you again, everyone, for this honor, and congratulations to the rest of the inductees. Thank you.
Sorry about the feedback, everybody. I'm trying to do something about it. Congratulations, Emily. Each year at the beginning of the year, we meet with all our student athletes to kind of read them the riot act, but we talked to them about expectations too, and I was speaking to them about kind of the beauty of humbleness, while also being competitive. Emily, you could come next year and do that for me, that would be great. Thank you. I'm going to ask Coach Wakeman to return to the podium for our next introduction, a member of our 2021 class.
So I have the honor of introducing Callie Mcgregor to all of you as a 2021 York College of Pennsylvania Hall of Fame inductee. Callie is one of the best defenders to ever play at York. She garnered all CAC honors in 2006, 2007, and 2008. She was also captain of the team in 2008 and a member of the most decorated women's soccer team at York, the 2007 CAC champions and NCAA Sweet 16 finishers. Callie, we still talk about and work towards the accomplishments that you and your teammates had in 2007, and thank you for helping to lay that foundation of success that our current program has built on. And last but not least, in 2007 and 2008, Callie was named to the National Soccer Coaches Association of America All Mid-Atlantic Region team as well. It is no surprise that many of the defensive records in categories such as goals against average and shutouts were established during Callie's years leading the Spartan defense. Coach Alex Navich remembers you as one of the best defenders he has ever coached. You were tenacious in your tackles, strong in your 1v1 defending, demonstrated great ball distribution, and he remembers you winning 99% of your 50-50 ball challenges. You were also an incredible teammate, positive, encouraging, and always had a great attitude on the field. Coach Vicki Sterner also recognized that you were one of the hardest working players she has ever coached. You played without fear, and you were the best defensive player she ever had the privilege of coaching at York. Additionally, she recognized your contributions in the classroom and as a servant leader. You always give 100% in anything you've committed yourself to. Callie, as a former defensive player myself, I know all too well how difficult it is to have your accomplishments summed up statistically. From what I've been told, you were able to do it all as a player. Score the game winner against Mary Washington in the CAC tournament, anchor a gritty defense that won numerous playoff and NCAA games. And this was all after tearing your ACL as a freshman and working your way back to being healthy and making an impact on the field. Your resilience and toughness are legendary. Thank you for your incredible career, for all you have done for your college, for our athletics family, and for the women's soccer program. We're so proud of all that you have accomplished, and congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction.
So I was never known as a speaker. I just did everything by just being on the field, so I apologize in advance for the speech. This is a huge honor to be nominated, let alone even chosen for the Hall of Fame. This is something that was never a goal of mine but I'm extremely grateful for this honor. I came to York for education, and it was just a huge bonus to be able to play the sport I love for 4 more years. I played with some amazing players. Emily is one, Erin, we had another Hall of Famer, Amanda as my goalie. I just had the amazing team around me. They helped me improve. They made me work harder and just wanted to play all the time. Playing defense, I'm not a goal scorer. I might have scored a couple. But honestly, I also did not have the best ball skills. My biggest strength was my heart and how hard I would work when I stepped on the field. I would never give up and literally had to be carried off the field when my body finally gave out. So some of my memories at York, obviously my freshman year against Mary Washington. As Callie was saying, I tore my ACL and my meniscus during the game. I was carried off the field, and all I could care about was what was going on the field as the trainers were trying to figure out what was wrong with my knee. We won that game, which was amazing because we hadn't beaten them. But then I was devastated that week when I found out that my season was over. So I had to watch our championship game from the sidelines, and I'll be honest with you, that crushed me. I felt so guilty. I felt like I let my team down. But that just made me want to fight even more after my freshman year. And I would not have made it without the training staff. You guys made, I don't even know, I had so many injuries my whole 4 years here, but somehow they carried me through. They worked with me on the off season and they got me back my sophomore year. And without them, I probably wouldn't have made it. My junior year, our team just clicked. We had an amazing group of girls, and it was just, that's the year that we won the CAC championship. I was just happy when we won that we got to practice for another week. We got to go up into New Jersey and play, and we were the complete underdogs. We were not supposed to win. We worked so hard as a team. We won the first game, which was amazing. We won the second game, which was a miracle. And then all I could remember was I was on cloud 9, but it was just so that I could practice another week with this team. It was an amazing group of girls, and I just didn't want it to end. Then we went to play Messiah. We were lucky enough that the NCAA was hosted here at York, which was amazing. But we knew going in playing Messiah was going to be difficult. We ended up losing in the Sweet 16, and I remember crying after the game. And it wasn't because we lost. It was because I would never play with that senior class again. They were an amazing group of girls, and I didn't want it to end. My senior year, the best moment that I remember is actually scoring a goal. I probably practiced with Justin after practice for an hour every game with Kate Allen, just practicing corners. As a defender, I didn't get to score much, but I loved headers, and that was the only time I was able to go up on the offensive end, and it was just for corners. And that game, it was probably the last minutes of the game. I think, Scott, you got a picture of it because you were going to go in to save your battery and got a picture of it. And Kate just put in a great ball, and it ended up in the back of the net, and that just made my senior year, just that moment alone. But honestly, I would not have been here if it wasn't for my team, my coaches, the training staff, and my family. I lost where I was. For the training staff, literally, you worked miracles to keep me functional, from rehab to ice baths to bags of ice around my legs after every game, taping literally every part of my body and keeping me fit. Thank you, Nate, and the rest of the training staff for that. For my teammates, they made me look better. Seriously, I would not be up here today if it wasn't for them. Soccer is 11 people on the field, and then even those on the bench. They made me who I am today. Like, I seriously could not have been up here without them. They pushed me to be the best player I could be. To the coaches, Vicky, Al, Duffy, and Justin, I could not have asked for a better coaching staff. You knew how to motivate me. You also knew how to calm me down. And you taught me skills that I continue to use today. To my family, thank you for always supporting me, even though you probably thought I was crazy. I still play today. My parents always pushed me to do my best. My parents couldn't always come to watch my games, but they would follow all of them. My mom used to watch the game online. This is before they actually showed video. She would literally read the play-by-play to follow me. And she actually knew that I was hurt my freshman year before I even gave her a phone call, because she knew that there was no way that I would have left the field if it wasn't up to me. My dad was my biggest critic, but he did so because he wanted me to do my best. I never gave up because I didn't want to disappoint him. He pushed me to be my best that I could be. I wish he could be here to see this moment, but I know he was proud of me. When he found out last year that I was selected, he mentioned it to everyone he met. I know he was watching from above. Again, thank you for the honor. I'm so thankful. And to all the other Hall of Famers, congratulations. It is an honor to share this with you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Callie. It's interesting to me how many of our Hall of Famers get up here and hear a story about how they had a season-ending injury and then overcame it. It says something about what makes a Hall of Famer. We have 3 pairs of married Hall of Famers. One couple is here tonight. But when our next inductee was selected, he and his brother became our first sibling Hall of Famers. And to add a layer to that, he will be introduced tonight by his college teammate, a YCP Hall of Famer himself, Evan Sheffy, our head men's soccer coach.
Good evening. It is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce the next member of the York College Athletics Hall of Fame, John Ports. Any person involved with the game of soccer or not could watch our team play for one day and recognize the elite talent that John was. But what allowed John to have such an incredible impact and legacy on our program was how he combined that elite talent, ultimately becoming the 2009 National Player of the Year, with his unrelenting work rate and his unwavering commitment to his teammates. John's work rate, talent, and energy drove every single one of his teammates to be at the best every single day and drove our program to new heights. John ultimately went on to become a captain as well, not simply due to his quality on the field, but the way he commanded the respect of every single one of his teammates through holding everyone accountable to the highest standards and leading through example every step of the way. John's individual stats are all over the record books here at York. And what's most impressive is that he did it in 3 years. John transferred after his freshman season at the University of Maryland. Thankfully that Chris was already at the program, so that helped facilitate that process. But so as I read some of these individual stats, the fact that he did it all in 3 years is incredibly impressive. But what should also be acknowledged is how John helped transform the future of York College soccer as a program during his 3 years in the program. I can say with full confidence that John, alongside with his Hall of Fame brother, Chris, were at the heart of elevating our program from a good, competitive Division III program to a top 10 nationally competitive program. Here are some of the team accolades that John helped earn during his time. CAC Championship in 2009, NCAA Tournament appearances in 2007, 2008, and 2009, NCAA Elite 8 appearance in 2007. Here are some of John's individual honors during his 3 seasons at York. First team All-CAC, 2007, 2008, 2009. First team All-Region, 2007, 2008, 2009. CAC Player of the Year, 2007, 2008. First team All-American, 2007, 2008, 2009. CAC Silver Anniversary Selection, recognizing the best 25 players in the CAC over the first 25 years as a conference. And as I alluded to earlier, he was also the 2009 National Player of the Year. John is 3rd all-time in points at York with 101, 5th in goals, tied for 1st in assists, and 5th in game-winning goals. Again, he did all of this in only 3 seasons. Please join me in welcoming the newest member of the York College Athletics Hall of Fame, John Ports.
I didn't write a speech at all. I'm gonna let my daughter. This is my special guest, Matea. She's my oldest of 4. So, first of all, I wanted to thank God for giving me this opportunity and leading me down the right path and bringing me here to this point. Also, I'd like to congratulate all the other inductees. You look at the stats up there on that board, and everyone here is very, very deserving of the honor. A lot of incredible student athletes in this room. I'd also like to thank Paul and the rest of the committee for hosting this event. You guys do a great job every year. Obviously, Chris is mine. It's been a pleasure. So thank you. Thank you to Sheffy, former teammate, Captain America, as we call him. We love you. You know, it's been great having you lead the program from here on out and seeing where you've taken it. And I'm very excited for where you will take it in the future as well. I think I am biased, but you know, I think I have one of the greatest families in the world. It's gonna trip up. You know, my mom and dad would come to every single game, you know, club-wise and even in college. They'd travel all over the country to watch us play. They wouldn't miss a game for anything. I know there's a game at York. We were playing a team from New York, and it was like a monsoon now. And I know Scott never said game. He tried to take pictures during it for sure. But my dad was one of like the 2 dads on the sideline, right on the fence line. I think he went out and just bought just rain suits for that game, just for that. Him and Mr. O'Connell, rest in peace there. You know, my mom, she'd be at every game as well. But I knew when I wanted to transfer out, one of my first phone calls, and my only phone call, was to my brother. And I said, hey, I'm looking to transfer out of here. How's it over there? And he said, just come play with me. You got a bunch of Baltimore boys over here. Just come on. And I didn't hesitate. I told Lobiaco at the time that I wanted to transfer in. And it was real late at the time, so they kind of squeezed me in. And my second mom and dad, my aunt and uncle here as well, took me with open arms. They live in Glen Rock, PA, and put me up in the room. Truly like my second mom and dad. And there was one time that at York, I parked my car in the wrong spot in Jackson Street alleyway, and it got towed. And my aunt paid for that car right away to get it out. So mom and dad, you probably owed them. Thank you guys, and I wouldn't be remiss to thank my sister as well for being here today. I know she was dragged up to a lot of the games, but thank you. And my beautiful wife here as well, Gianna, and our 4 kids that we have, and a special guest here, Matea, the pink raspberry team, lost today, 4-2, but Matea did have a goal All the things that you accomplish in life as you do everything you're okay. Thank you all.
Great job, Mateo. John, I have to say that in having been witness to many selection committee meetings, your selection discussion was perhaps the shortest. Pretty simple. At this point, I'd like to ask Matt Hunter, our head men's basketball coach, to introduce the first of our three 2022 inductees.
Thank you to all the members of the Hall of Fame that are here this evening, especially our men's basketball members and Coach Jeff Gamber and Andy O'Brien. Special congrats to Emily, Callie, John, Jason, and Bernie on joining this exclusive group of Spartans this evening. Nick Brady came to York College in the fall of 2005 from DeLone Catholic in McSherrystown, Pennsylvania. And honestly, he's never really left. His playing career led to an assistant coaching career that spanned both Coach Gamber and myself, and led to his current role as camp director, and who we call Uncle Nick, and that's how he's known to all of our players. Nick is one of the most decorated and influential basketball players in the history of our program. He's also one of the very few that was fortunate enough to continue his career playing after college. He played professionally for Brady the Blick, how they do, in Red Blick Club in Iceland in the year after his graduation. His playing career as a Spartan was nothing short of spectacular. If you take a moment to look at the men's basketball record book, his name is written all over it. He finished his career with 1,524 points, which is good for 8th all time. But the amazing thing is no one has surpassed that number since Nick graduated. Nick is also 4th all time in 3-point field goals made and 9th all time in 3-point percentage. And that led to him being 10th all time in career scoring average. He was the CAC Rookie of the Year in 2007, and he's one of only 4 players in the history of the men's basketball program to earn that honor. After his junior year, he was named 2nd team All-CAC. Nick is known throughout the department for his incredible work ethic and determination against some tremendous odds. And all of Nick's hard work and dedication paid off in historic fashion in his senior year. That senior year in 2010 will always be one of the greatest seasons ever played by a men's basketball player here at York. He averaged 20 points a game to go along with 6 rebounds per game and led his team to a career best 19 wins in that year. For his tremendous efforts on the floor, he was named the CAC Player of the Year, selected to the NABC All-Region team, and was named a 3rd team All-American at the end of the year. To put it all in perspective for you guys, there's only 5 individuals in the history of our program that have been named Player of the Year. Okay, and Nick is one of them. And only 4 of those guys were named an NABC All-American. Since his graduation, Nick has been named a member of that 2014 Silver Anniversary team through the CAC, recognizing the 25 best players in the first 25 years of the league. And in 2019, which is really how I know Nick, He was named to the Year of 50 Spartan Award winners for outstanding alumni who have demonstrated dedication, excellence, professional achievement, and most importantly, a commitment to staying engaged with York College after graduating. It is my great honor and a distinct pleasure to introduce your newest Spartan Athletics Hall of Famer and my good friend, Nick Brady.
First off, this is the only paper I had in my house, and my wife, or my daughter got a hold of it before. So, I'm not trying to hypnotize anybody, that's not all I got to work with. Before going any further, I want to congratulate everybody else who was not only recommended, but also had the pleasure of being inducted. So it's a pretty cool honor, and I think it speaks volumes for the work that everybody's put in. So congratulations to everybody. I'm currently a campus director at River Rock Academy, which is an alternative education school. And every year we have a graduation ceremony. And this year I had to speak at the graduation ceremony. So I'm not used to speaking that often. Some will say that I don't mind talking. But what I did the day prior was I picked up my son Braxton, who's here, and we decided to go down to the lake by our house to fish. And, you know, just a normal type of conversation that you have with a 6-year-old. How was school? What did you learn? Why were you at the principal's office? That type of stuff. And I mentioned to him that I had to give a speech the next day, so I need him and his sister, my daughter Brady, who was here as well, to be nice and quiet at home so I could try and write a speech. He was very curious and said, "What exactly is this speech?" So I explained to him, you gotta get up, you gotta talk in front of a bunch of people, so on and so forth. And he said, "You're gonna be nervous." And I said, "No, probably won't be." And I said, "I don't mind talking." And he said, "Oh, I know that." And I'm thinking to myself, what do your mom talk about when I'm not around? Like, I know you heard that from somewhere. You didn't just come up with that yourself. So I said, "What's your advice, man? What do you think?" And he said, "Well, don't talk long." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Well, you talk long to me, and a lot of times I just kind of block you out." I'm like, "Okay, that explains why you ended up in the principal's office." I said, "What about jokes?" I said, "Jokes?" And he said, "Not really, you're not that funny." I'm like, "Oh my God, man, I'm getting bludgeoned here by my kids." I said, "What about advice?" Some people, when they give speeches, you know, they give advice. And he said, "Well, Daddy, the best advice you gave me was putting whipped cream on my oatmeal." So, I'm not going to be long. I'm not going to tell jokes, and there's no guarantee that everybody in the room likes oatmeal, so I'm going to skip the advice part as well. And I'm going to go the thankful route. I had the pleasure of coaching, as Coach Hunter had mentioned. I had the pleasure, when I was done playing, of coaching with Coach Jeff and Coach Dean Gamber, and then coaching with Coach Hunter as well. And you know, I did a bunch of different stuff. Do some X's and O's, do some scouting. I was never in charge of the defensive stuff, that's for sure. But the number one thing that I would do is I would recruit. And you know, when I started recruiting, it was always given a normal pitch. This is what we offer as a major, this is what the library's like, you know, this is what it costs, stuff like that. And then as I got through, I realized, I just started telling kids, I said, "Listen, you gotta follow your heart, and you gotta pick a place that feels like home." And they were like, "How are we supposed to do that? We haven't been here yet." I said, "You'll know when you just get around the right people, when you're home." And the people at York, when I was being recruiting, obviously the biggest piece was Coach Jeff and Coach Dean. And I knew from the moment that I met them that that's why I wanted to stay at York. And the people that I've met along the way, which I want to just go through and thank a couple of them, but they're the reason that I continue to stay involved. So just talk about some of the people, throw out some thank yous. I could fill the entire room with the amount of people that I had to thank for this opportunity and for being at this point in my life. Some of the quick ones that come to mind: Nate Cook, man, if I had the money, I would sign you to tape my ankles every day when I get up out of bed, because I walk 2 steps and I step on a leg, I want to roll my ankle. So, you know, if I could do that. I'd bring you on board into the Brady house. I don't know if you want to stay. It's pretty much a mess. But Scott Weiss, I always appreciated how involved he was, not just with making sure that people were kept in the loop about how games went, but also how he got involved in the players' lives. And he always managed to, in the write-up, say how many points I scored and never include how many I gave up. So I always appreciated that, guys. Just looking across the room, there's so many people that you remember seeing the games. Horse Brothers, Sheffy, we had the delight of hanging out from Jackson Street as well. You guys kept me out of trouble, so I appreciated that. But just a couple others. My in-laws, Patty and Steve, I knew that I was officially accepted into their family when Miss Patty was telling me to bring laundry down for her to do it. And there was one time we were playing at home against Salisbury, and I heard someone from like 4 rows up chewing out a kid that was guarding me, and I turned around, and it was my future father-in-law. So I knew that I had been accepted at that time. Coach Hunter, he at one point in time, he informed me that in between Coach Gamber and him taking over the basketball program, that his plan was to cut me and no longer be a part of the coaching staff. And we met at Parma, and I went from my head in the guillotine to being allowed to sit in his castle, and I appreciated that. He went from someone who didn't want anything to do with me to one of my best friends that I have in the world right now, and I appreciate the opportunity and him believing in me. Coach Dean, I had probably the worst night of my life when I was at York College my junior year, and I called 2 people that night. One of them was, at the time, my ex-girlfriend, spoiler alert, that works out. And the other one was Coach Dean. And I'll get into kind of what happened in a little bit, but it's just going back to making sure you pick a place where you feel like you're supported and you belong. That's the epitome of what Coach Dean Gamble was to me. Coach Jeff, he took a chance on me coming out of high school, and there was a lot of other kids that he could have took an opportunity on. And he went from coach to a second father figure. And one of my favorite things about Coach Jeff was I played for him. I actually redshirted my first year, so I was around for 5 years. And on the 5th year, if I'm walking across campus, if you know Coach Jeff, he's a man of a few words. I'm walking across campus, and we see each other coming from a couple yards away, and everybody would think they're going to have a long conversation. It was just a nod, Coach, Nick, and that's all it was. We never really told each other how much we meant to one another, but I realized that the last game my senior year when we lost, and I come off the floor, and the hug that we embraced in was about as passionate one as I can remember from anybody that I've been around. So he, again, treated me like another son, and I would not be here if it was not for him. My wife, Amanda, I met her at, she was the ex-girlfriend that I said, spoiler alert, we worked out. I met Amanda at York. It was love at first sight in my eyes. Not so much for her until I started playing a little bit. I rode bench a little too much, I guess, my redshirt year to really start getting that look. But we from the jump, we just seemed to get each other. We seemed to have the same values. She's been a huge support system for me going through everything, and it is my sincere hope that my son Braxton one day finds a woman like that for himself. To my kids, Braxton and Brielle, obviously they weren't around back then, but I always tried to make decisions and do things that I knew one day when I had kids that they would be proud of. So thanks goes out to them as well. My dad, he has his own style, and to kind of explain that, my sophomore year of high school, I didn't play much as a freshman, I didn't play much as a sophomore, was thinking about quitting. He came into my room, I'm crying, and he's like, what are you bawling about? That's the exact words. And I said, I'm not playing, I don't know what to do. He said, it's very simple. He said, shut up and get better. I'll be honest with you, if my mind was a car, that would be a bumper sticker that would be on the back of it. Shut up and get better. Because that's what needed to happen. And, you know, my dad, just so you he works at River Rock with me as well, and he used some of the words that the kids use to describe him: quiet, intimidating, scary. However you want to chalk it up, the man knows how to be a dad. And he fights for his family, and you know, again, wouldn't be anywhere near what I am now if it wasn't for him. I should have brought my beer up. The last person that I need to thank is not here. It is my mom. My junior year, I was on Jackson Street. I got a phone call that my mom had died. She was an angel then before she was now. She raised myself and my brother and my old man, and it was, I'm sure it was not easy having the three of us in the house at one time. But, you know, again, I always have tried to do everything that I could in a manner that would make her proud, even before she had passed, but now more than ever, I hope that she looks down and is proud of the player I was, the person I am, the husband I am, and the father that I am. So, the last person that really needs to be acknowledged is God. Just like John said, I'm a lucky dude to have been born into a very supportive system, to have the health that I have, the opportunities that I have, and even though he took one of my biggest support pieces, my biggest support piece that I ever had, he really left a slew of pieces laid down at my feet to allow me to continue to be successful. So, just one final time, congratulations to everybody else who is able to participate in this honor. Anybody in this building or in this room that has helped me, I greatly appreciate it. And while I am now a York College Hall of Famer, York College has always been a Hall of Famer in my book. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Coach Scap and I used to spend a lot of time in the dugout after games talking usually about character. And Nick, I didn't coach you, but you are undoubtedly what we would have called a foxhole guy. And that's a pretty high compliment. At this point, I would like to ask Coach Scapa to come forward, our head baseball coach.
All right. First, I want to congratulate all this year's inductees. Thank everyone for coming. It's great to see all the returning Hall of Famers in attendance. It really makes me proud when you start to realize all the different generations of greatness that we have represented in this room. Jason Christenberry is one of the greatest pitchers in York College history. He ranks second in career wins, second in career strikeouts, second in innings pitched, and fifth in all-time appearances. He's also among the single-season leaders in all those categories as well. His list of postseason awards include the 2007 CAC Rookie of the Year. He was three-time All-CAC, and in 2010, he earned All-South Region, earned All-American honors, and was the 2010 South Region Pitcher of the Year. He also pitched in some of the biggest games in Spartan history, including a victory over Salisbury in an elimination game during the 2007 South Regional Tournament. He sent those Seagulls packing. His team's made 3 trips to the NCAA tournament during his career. But the thing that really made Jason special was his toughness. I've seen him pitch with a broken foot. Okay, he broke his foot and tried to pitch the next game. That's when we figured out it was broken. I've seen him pitch on short rest. Right? He wanted to pitch every single game that he possibly could. Like, he just loved to pitch. He's still pitching. Okay, he had the perfect psychological makeup to be a successful pitcher. You combine that kind of competitive spirit with his tremendous physical gifts, you have yourself a Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Christenberry.
Almost undid my whole speech right there. I think like Callie said, I'm not one for speeches either. That's why I majored in accounting, because we didn't write any papers or do speeches. So it's an honor to be recognized for this achievement, and something I can share with my friends and family over time, and can take my kids there to see at the Grumbacher. This is something that like I wasn't aiming for when I started my career or even thinking about. I was more focused on trying to make sure we could beat Southbury and make sure that we reached our goal each year of getting to the regionals. And I was fortunate enough to play with 3 teams that got to there. And the reason that we got to regionals wasn't because of me, it was because I played on a team with good coaches and good teammates. I was able to learn from some of the best. I played with 3 baseball players that are currently in the Hall of Fame that showed me the Spartan way and that I was able to continue to show to my teammates. My teammates and coaches are what made my time at York College enjoyable and helped shape who I am today. I'm still to this day grateful for Coach Sarkia and Coach Scappa for pushing me to not only be the best baseball player that I could be, but also the best person I could be. I learned not only to care about baseball, to take pride in everything that you do as a reflection of yourself and also your teammates. This is a part of the reason why I decided to pitch on a fractured foot, because I knew my teammates were counting on me and I didn't want to let them down. And I also knew that we had great training staff such as Nate, Jen, and Allison to take care of me. And I still wish I had you guys around today for my bio 3 arm massages, because I need them. 30s aren't the same as their 20s. So this is where we get to the thankful part. So I want to thank my kids for allowing me to still play the game of baseball I love. You guys weren't around to see me play in college, but I'm grateful for this accolade, because then you guys passed my knowledge on to you guys. And you both still chose to play baseball, which is an honor, because now I get to coach you guys and pass my knowledge on. I want to thank my fiance Amber for allowing me to still play baseball. Doubleheaders on every Sunday take up a lot of time in the summer. I'm especially thankful this year because I'm expecting my 3rd child and our 1st child together. So there was always a hot meal waiting for me to get home on Sundays after being out in the field for 8 hours, so I'm grateful for that. I'm also glad that I get to share this moment with one of my best friends from high school and one of my baseball teammates at Dallastown, Rob Donatelli. He's here thanks to his wife, Emily, who just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Lastly, but most importantly, I want to thank my parents. Thank you for always making sure I was at practice, games, and wherever I needed to be on time. You guys allowed me to travel all over the East Coast while I was a teenager in high school playing baseball in Florida, Tennessee. So I thank you guys, I appreciate that. You never got too mad at me for all the outside lights that I broke hitting wiffle balls as a kid, or the numerous windows that I broke in our garage throwing rubber balls at the wall. I can't even count on my hand how many times windows I broke. It had to be at least 5 to 10. And lastly, a lot of people say that video games are bad, but I'm thankful for you buying that Nintendo and that Major League Baseball game for me, because that's what helped instill my passion for baseball, is playing that Nintendo. So, thank you all again for this selection. It's an honor to be here. Thank you to the selection committee, my coaches, and all the other inductees. And like I said, this is something that I can share with my family and my kids in the future, so thank you.
Congratulations, Jason. I have had the distinct pleasure and honor of coaching 10 Hall of Famers now. And while no 2 people are exactly the same, there is a common trait among all of them. See, Hall of Famers are not always the most talented people on the team. In fact, I would venture to say that oftentimes they're not. But almost always, I can tell you, and coaches, if you haven't learned this already, you will. They are the most competitive people on the team. And Jason, at a glance, I'm guessing many of our opponents had no idea what they were getting into when you walked out to the mound. but I did, and it was one of my favorite parts of coaching. Okay, at this time I would like to ask our track and field coach, Stephen Lobiaco, to come forward to introduce our final inductee of the night.
Hello, thank you for coming. The next Hall of Fame recipient has a lot of firsts to his name. But the thing I remember most about him is his senior year, making the time to get workouts in during a strenuous year as an engineering major. It was my first year as a volunteer coach at York College, and I had no idea what went into being an engineering major and managing time with your co-ops and your classes. Most times I saw him alone at the track with either Coach Camadetta or Coach Frymuth doing his thing and didn't even understand that necessarily he was on the team. Until I saw him at meets. No matter what, he was always there to get the work done, and it shows in his accolades from that year. He had a great senior year overall, but really came alive with his performances late in the outdoor track season. He won all 3 of his events at the York College Home Invitational that year, and he went on to win the 110 hurdles, 400 hurdles, and to be a part of the winning 4x400 relay team at CACs. The man didn't lose. That year also, he earned first team in all of his events, and on top of that, he was the integral reason that the men's track and field team won the CAC title, the first since 1992. After his success at CACs, he went on to continue to compete, racing his way into NCAA Nationals after a 53.34 400 hurdle race at Shippensburg. To keep in mind, that's, everybody here knows what a track looks like. It's 1 lap around the track with 10 hurdles in your way in 53 seconds. Pretty impressive. The time qualified him as one of 20 men in the nation to compete to be an All-American. To put that into perspective, there are 324 NCAA Division III schools with track. At York this year, we have 5 men's hurdlers. So if the per school average is 3 hurdlers, that means he was in the top 20 of at least 972 men. At Nationals, he improved upon his own school record in 400 hurdles and placed 6th in his prelim to qualify for the final, where he would earn top 8 and be All-American. He clinched All-American status in the final and became the first and only York hurdler to be an All-American and the first hurdler to compete at NCAA level for York. He currently has the 400 school record that has stood for over 10 years and will be the one that we chase for seasons to come. He's somebody we talk about on a yearly basis, as we had multiple hurdlers going after his record. I would like to present Ben Edwards to the York College Hall of Fame class of 2022.
Man, I think I'm going to be nervous to get up here. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to all the other inductees this evening. I never had a speech either, so I'll just try to keep this short and sweet. But it's got to give you guys an idea of how I got to York College. Actually, and I was a junior or senior in high school. I actually got something in the mail at my house, and my mom's like, "Hey, you know, you're at York College. They're asking you to come to school. They gave you a scholarship." I was like, "Well, never heard of it." Threw it away. Literally threw it away and went over a different direction. I ended up actually going to Indiana Tech my first year in Fort Wayne, Indiana, for my freshman year of college. I ended up actually 9th in the country in hurdles in high school. Unfortunately, my parents didn't know how to get me to college. I was first kid to go to college in our family. So I ended up actually walking on the baseball team in Indiana Tech. I couldn't, just to give you an idea how good I was at baseball, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, just to understand how good I was. But I was able to play outfield and I pinch ran actually while I was there. So my second year at Indiana Tech, actually, I ended up walking on they started the track for my second year, so I was part of that kind of integral team to start the track team there. And then in that year, my sophomore year, I pulled my hamstring so bad I couldn't even straighten my leg for over a month. And then I literally called my mom, I remember at the end of the year, and I was like, unfortunately, Indiana Tech was not the place for me. I knew just it wasn't the right place, right? It wasn't the place I needed to get to, the next place I wanted to be in life. And I started looking probably around May, June for somewhere else to go to school. And interestingly enough, my mom and I started talking about York College, and it was like, we remembered from several years prior that York College had sent me something, so you know what? Decided to apply and ended up getting accepted into college. As Coach Lobiaco said, I was a mechanical engineering student. So that's why I went to the school for the mechanical engineering program that I heard such good things about. And while in school, Coach Callie Mcgregor was there, and I remember walking into his office the first time, and I'm like, hey, my name's Ben. I want to walk on the team. He's kind of looking at me like, yeah, cool, I guess. Hadn't heard of me, I'm just another guy trying to walk on the team. And he's like, well, it was during cross-country season, so it wasn't time yet. But he said, hey, do what you need to do. You can work out as you need to and whatnot. And interestingly enough, going into my first year at York College and my third year at college, he actually appointed me team captain, which created a little bit of animosity because I was kind of the new guy. But I put work in. I was there literally all the time. I was always in the track, always in the weight room, and I was really putting work in. And track was was my getaway from school. Track was how I kind of leveled or balanced my life out. It got me away from all the calculations and math work and science and all that. So it kind of helped me kind of maintain balance. And I will tell you, throughout my time at York College, we had fun. Literally, we just had fun. We had a great group of guys, great group of girls with us. We just had fun. We liked working out. Some of the workouts were absolutely horrible. They sucked. We threw up. We were tired. We complained. We had fun, and I think that's what made a difference within our team is we had fun. I remember even times where Coach Callie Mcgregor had this thing where if one of us got in trouble, we all kind of got in trouble. And I'm pretty sure a lot of coaches kind of maybe do something like that. I remember one particular time where we got called in for practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. It must have been 10 to 20 degrees outside. And we were literally on the soccer field running wheelbarrows up and down, sprints up and down. I remember this, I swear the coldest day it had been in the entire year. But again, one of us got in trouble, we all got in trouble, we all suffered for that. But I tell you what, it kind of ingrained a teamwork in us and a camaraderie in us, and we all picked each other up when we needed to, right? So it kind of helped with that. And I appreciate Coach Callie Mcgregor because he gave me an opportunity that he didn't have to. He could have told me to, go away. I didn't have any reason really to be there other than, I just had to prove to him. But, again, track was one of those things that I just love to do. I love to run, I love to work out. Unfortunately, Coach wasn't so happy with me after these couple years of gaining a few pounds, but all in all, I still love to run, right? It's an amazing time, and I do appreciate Coach Callie Mcgregor for everything he's done, and it's awesome to see him kind of continue to grow and prosper as far as coaching and whatnot. Coach Frymuth was my hurdle coach, and I appreciate him. He's also a mechanical engineer, so he was able to break things down for me a little bit differently. I think I'm very, scientific or mechanical sometimes in my thinking, and we kind of were able to connect on that. Coach Lobiaco, we didn't really talk much, unfortunately, while we were there. You were the guy that just kind of went off running with the other longer running guys, and you guys just ran too much. They always ran too much. Nate, I definitely appreciate it. I spent a good share of my time in the training room. I'm pretty sure like every other athlete here. Ice baths, skin tape, stem, whatever it was. I do remember though, specifically, I was in the training room, excuse me, and I got a call. And I was sitting on my on the green benches that were there. I got my job offer. It was in March of my senior year. I got my job offer. And literally, I had a job in March, sitting in the training room after track practice, and I literally was like, man, it's such a weight lifting because now I got a job. I can finish up my senior season, and I had really more pressure. So definitely, Nate, thank you for everything you guys done in the training room. Scott, I remember you as well. Bouncing around, taking pictures. Like I said, your college was something that for me that was just amazing. We always had fun. We just had a great time, and I think that's what made us different. But I just want to say congratulations to all the other inductees. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the staff that selected me, and hope you guys have a great night.
Congratulations, Ben. I actually remember watching you practicing outside my window and realized that when people say you can do anything you put your mind to was a lie because I knew I could never do that. Before we conclude this celebration, I would like to thank some people. Maureen Brenner and Jen Mustin. Thank you for taking the lead on putting this night together. I'd like to thank the Wyndham for hosting us, and I'd like to thank the selection committee for all of their hard work. The entire process of nominations and selections for our Hall of Fame is really enjoyable, although at times it is quite difficult. It is an honor to be a part of it each year, and we are fortunate as coaches and administrators to be blessed with many, many fine student athletes every year. Still, we know that just a very few are truly, truly special. Emily, Kelly, John, Nick, Jason, and Ben, on behalf of York College, I want to thank you for your dedication, the effort you invested in us, and the pride you have brought to us. I congratulate you again for your recognition as one of the Spartan Elite York College Athletic Hall of Fame classes of 2020, 21, and 22. Now, I think we might be doing some tailgating just next door. Everybody, please be safe going home tonight, and good night.